Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Miss Olivia. Hi, Reggie. Nice to meet you. Welcome to the crazy house. Ori! Ori's in the house. Go. Oh no! Is she gonna be able to watch it all? Is she gonna be able to watch it all? Bless her heart. Can she watch on her phone? Okay. You girls are crazy. Cray, cray. Cray, cray. Ori, have you talked to Nancy? Is she going to be able to join us? We'll wait. Not in that big a hurry. Okay. There she is. There she is. How you feeling, sweet pea? How you feeling? Ori, you want everything dark and dirty. Whew, it's getting dark. The yawns are starting. It's getting dark. Just so you guys know, we are under a thunderstorm warning, so anything happens, it's trying to go out now, apparently. Okay, come back up. Okay. So I just want you guys to know if anything happens, I'll read it tomorrow night if the weather permitting. Okay, so my apologies ahead of time, but we are getting hit with the outer bands of Hurricane Laura tonight. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. All right, Olivia, I will start reading on your count. I'm assuming I'm just starting with chapter 1, correct? Excuse me. Audrey, how many takeovers does Raven got this week? I feel like my phone's just been beeping with Raven takeovers. Trying to bring the weather up right quick. Right now, looks like most of it's going around us. So, yay. So, right now we're doing good. So, let's go ahead and Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, I don't have a cover photo. If you need to see the cover of the book, go to my name's Book Nook, and it will be on there. The we had some issues trying to get me a copy of the book, so she ended up sending me a email and a copy, and it didn't have the cover of the book with it. So you guys will have to just go there and look. All right. And although Olga, for those of you who don't know, Olga is from Russia. So right now it's like 3:00 in the morning there. So Miss Olivia Flower is her PA, and who is staying up 3:00 in the morning to be with us tonight. And apparently Olga's having some computer issues, so we know all about that here. But this is written this is written by a Russian writer about Italy, about people in Italy, and I'm reading it in English. So we're just gonna be dust all dandy here. I don't know how much we're gonna go with this, y'all. I don't know how much I'm gonna have to do here. So we're just going to go with it and fly by the seat of our pants, which is what I like to do anyway. So, all right. Chapter 1, fight for your happiness. Somebody was insistently knocking at the door of Milano Veneziani's room while he was in the arms of Morpheus. Although the knocking continued, Milano was in bed, just turning over with reluctance. Waking up slowly, he started to stretch in the bed. He enjoyed the warmth of the sunset, which, reaching into the room and enveloping his body pleasantly, he enjoyed. All right, just so you know, as I said, this is a Russian writer. She had Russian and Italian editors, I do believe. So I will try to fill in any of the English words that were missed. It's not a bad thing, by no means. But if I do miss something, please don't hold it against her. I mean, this English is not her first language, and the job is, I mean, I've already read enough to let you know that it was done a very well edited job. So, waking up slowly, he started to stretch in the bed. He enjoyed the warmth of the sunset, which was reaching into the room and enveloping his body pleasantly. He enjoyed feeling the bond between nature and himself. Milano reached his hand with the hope of feeling Veronica beside him, but did not find anyone. Was everything that happened to him just a dream? Is it true that Veronica has left him for sure? Was he really alone now and was going totally mad? But reaching his hand across his big double bed, Milano soon stretched to a soft, erotic buttock. It was covered with a white cotton sheet and radiated the hotness of its skin. Milano smiled at his lucky find while opening his sapphire emerald eyes. He exhaled hard. Oh, what a relief. Everything that happened wasn't just a dream. His angel was lying near him, a beautiful, pure angel who was sleeping and slowly breathing into her small pillow. Milano reached his hand to the angel, touched her dark blonde hair, and whispered, "You have such silky hair, dear, like fur. Only real angels can have such amazing hair. Only angels." He slowly began to unravel her curls and massaged her head carefully. For Milano, Veronica looked like a newborn baby. There was no hint of sadness on her face, and she worried about nothing. She was happy. How could I make anybody happy I'm just like the demon, and it's better not to have dealings with him. Milano's thoughts haunted him. They got to his mind, giving him moral sorrow. Milano felt lost, being with his goddess, but he didn't want to say it to her. Sensing tender scratching of Milano's hand, Veronica woke up immediately. She tried not to feel an exhausting languor after sex, but she yawned, unable to keep her physical impulses at bay. She felt so good and decided to maintain her cool until a better time. Veronica turned her head to Milano and saw his smile. It was so radiant and bright, as if he wasn't the demon. It seemed like he was just a human with a kind heart and an open soul. Did you sleep well, my angel? Milano inquired, stroking the temple and cheek of Veronica. Very good. How about you, my joy? Veronica asked him with a smile, slowly passing her index finger over his wide nose and slightly pressing the end of it. Why do you address me like this again? Why? Milano wondered stiffly because in his heart he knew that he wasn't perfect, and it would be better for Veronica if she never touched on this subject. It would be better to keep it just as it was. Veronica didn't pay attention to Milano's bad mood and addressed him the way she felt about him. But how could Veronica get so attached to him in these last few weeks? Did she really love him, or was it just an attraction? Did this attraction make her head swim like crazy? Because I love you. What else can I say? It was her answer to the sudden question of Milano. His reaction was quite different from what she expected. He immediately spat an oath, jumping out of bed. This is horseshit. Love doesn't exist in our world. You could think of something more interesting. For example, about sex. He raged at Veronica without looking at her body and wrinkling his broad forehead. He slowly went to the window. Milano looked at the sunset, which showed him that color of emotions to which he was dead to, the emotions that were buried under the cover of his past. He turned his face toward the big city, as if the city resembled him. It was also stony and dark. Soon you will believe in love. The main thing I hope is that it won't be too late, Veronica confessed frankly, bending her head to her knees and being absorbed in her world of fantasy, the world where she dreamed about a life with Milano that was so ghostly. It won't happen, Milano roared. He flared up, not yielding to Veronica's point on account of his feelings. He was supposed, as he supposed, he didn't have strong feelings for her. There was only desire and passion. Did Milano deceive only himself or both of them? For him, it was like going through purgatory or going through all the circles of hell. It was too sore a trial. Then I'll die. You will regret. Veronica wasn't able to finish her sentence, hiding her face under her thick hair. She felt as lost as Milano and felt quite upset because of his words. After this statement of hers, Milano turned his head to Veronica and strictly came to the bedside where she was sitting. He caught her shoulders roughly, and Veronica almost groaned with pain. Just add another word about death, Cara, and I swear I'll hit you. Milano was growling in rage. Hit me, Milano. You have already decided to try out everything with me, haven't you? It's like you're done with BDSM, and so you're considering cruelty, right? Veronica raised her chin proudly, trying to show that she was still strong, even though she was irritated. Although tears of forgiveness filled her eyes, she was not angry. She was not able to be angry at her demon. Do you explicitly incite me to this cruelty? Milano raised his voice, not letting his goddess go. It seemed like he was looking straight in the depths of her sensitive, beautiful soul. Yes, I do, Veronica answered him vehemently, pursing her lips with indignation. She didn't want to present her weakness and be the loser in the near war, in their new war. That was my fault. Weakness and be the loser in their new war. However, Milano saw her face had turned red from tears, and he immediately revised his behavior concerning Veronica. He loosened his tough grip with a sigh after his splenetic words. And you incite me to empathy, my fairy. Milano ironically went on speaking with a smile at her volatile temper. Without a doubt, Veronica answered him in a whisper when Milano bent his head to her crown and lightly brushed her lips with a kiss. Nina, this sounds like a conversation with you sometimes. This passion, this tempers, and everything just calms down. Veronica answered him in a whisper when Milano bent his head to her crown and lightly brushed her lips with a kiss. That was what she missed always when Milano was rough with her. Because of that, she could forget about all their arguments. Hey, Jackie! Hearing her sarcasm, Milano burst out laughing. He clasped his goddess in his ring of energy, shedding his divine caresses and embraces. He adored as she stroked his muscles up and down. Never tell me about death, dear. Never. Milano told her, squeezing her palm in his hand. Why? It is inevitable. Veronica uttered wisely, without realizing why she had touched upon this subject. Maybe because of her bad mood? Just don't speak of it again. I've already had death in my life, and I don't want to experience it again. Milano stopped talking, swallowing the tears in his soul. Something gnawed at him, and he constantly fought at it. He can't tell Veronica the truth yet. Not yet. Veronica understood his silence and thought it would be better not to touch this subject again. Give Milano time, the inner voice uttered to Veronica. Do not hurry him, please. Forgetting about the emotional conversation with her demon, Veronica caught his swarthy neck and kissed it, enjoying Milano's reaction. He hemmed in response to her actions, letting her dominate over him and his body. Milano was standing without moving for a long time, enjoying her caresses until he embraced her with fever. Fever. He pondered how to get his dear Amazon into his bed one more time, but a sudden knock on the door interrupted their desires. Open the door, Mino. It is 6 p.m. already. How long could you? Oh. Open the door, Mino. It's 6 p.m. already. How long could you lie on your backs? It's Lucino. It's Lucino. Lucenzo, Nina? It's Olga! Is it Lucenzo? Am I saying it right? Olivia, Olga? Milano grinned, recognizing the voice of his brother. I'll go to the kitchen and you put your clothes on and come downstairs as well. It's time for supper. Oh, look, Nina, it's supper in Italy. Sorry, y'all. That's a little thing that Nina and I have going on, that Orly and I have going on with supper and dinner. He added, stroking Veronica's cheek. He thought it was really necessary to eat. Did you sleep that long? She was shocked, replaying their rows and fast sex, tiredness, and total relaxation. Did they even forget about food? Perhaps 3 hours, Veronica. When you're at home, Milano, do you have a good night's rest or not? A sudden idea occurred in her mind when she remembered that morning in Pisa. You guys know the Leaning Tower at Pisa? Yeah. in Pisa. There, Milano woke up sweating all over, and his behavior was very strange and frightening. She didn't know what to think of this incident. What does her demon hide? What? Veronica wished to get into Pandora's box, which Milano concealed faithfully. She tried to find out his spiritual secrets, even if it could be her fatal mistake. Veronica didn't think of the consequences. She just desired to assist Milano. I often have nightmares, Milano avowed reluctantly. My brother doesn't hear my clamor because the walls in my room strangle the sounds. Thankfully, as I would feel awkward if Lucenzo became a witness to it, he said as he replayed Lucenzo. Lucenzo. Okay. Hey, Teddy. Alrighty. Lucenzo. Thankfully, as I would feel awkward if Lucenzo became a witness to it. He said as he relayed his weird experiences to Veronica. He didn't want to involve Lucenzo in his psychiatric disorders. His brother had his own life problems as well. Now you won't have terrible nightmares. You will have only wonderful dreams. I promise. Veronica gave hope to Milano, looking intently into his eyes and trying to help him overcome himself. I hope for this. Milano told Veronica with some distrust in his voice when his goddess gave him embraces as large as the ocean. But their calm was interrupted by Lucenzo's scream. He guessed they probably didn't hear him at all. Milano, you're still keeping me waiting. What the? Don't grumble, Lou. I'm coming. Milano snapped at his brother, still hugging Veronica. And let Veronica come. I missed her too, Lucenzo smiled, still staying ahead of Milano's bedroom door, staying behind Milano's bedroom door. He knew how Milano would react to his words. Lucenzo wanted to tease his eldest brother to rouse his feelings for dearest Veronica. When Veronica heard the words of Lucenzo, she forced to laugh. Stop cozying up to my girlfriend or you'll get one in the eye, Milano threatened Lucenzo while he was away from his goddess. If you don't cozy up to my bride, I won't come closer to yours, Lucenzo laughed, knowing how to provoke his brother so as not to lose out to him. Well, I'll come out now and kick your face, Lou. Milano snarled, trying to put on his dark jeans and black racerback. Although, despite his bad mood, he continued smiling. Then get out of your hovel and get your butt to the kitchen, Lucenzo snapped back. Veronica began to giggle, listening to the conversation of the two brothers. Mind your language, Lucenzo. Milano put his brother in his place. A lady lives in our big house. Sorry, I did forget myself, Lucenzo uttered, waiting for his brother and Veronica behind the door. Having blown his goddess a kiss, Milano left the bedroom fast. He gripped Lucenzo's neck, but Lucenzo hit him in the side. Milano snorted, letting his brother go, and started to chat with him about personal things. The young men remembered the evening in the Lascati house and how funny their night was. Veronica and Milano's sex moves were heard by Francesca's parents, and the next morning Francesca's parents joked about that in a delicate way. Thinking about her attachment to Milano, Veronica already knew that she would live in the cottage of the Venziani house family. But the thought of meeting with Milano's parents worried her the most. Will they approve of Milano's choice? Will they realize in what state he finds himself? Will they recognize their grandchild or reject him? What if Milano's parents conclude that Veronica walked into their son's life just to have a taste of their wealth? However, Veronica didn't care about his money. She only wanted to be with her demon. Finally, Veronica opened the suitcase and bags which Pietro brought for her. She began to hang her clothes in the wardrobe and was glad that she had the perfect clothes for the trip. Who would have thought that she would need so many clothes? Who could have imagined that she would be living among the high class in society? Her clothes weren't so chic to go to all social events, but Veronica had consummate taste. Anyway, he's cooking bacon. Yum. Anyway, she was a fashion designer. It meant she couldn't worry that she would go out into the world in an inappropriate outfit. Putting on a chiffon dress, Veronica looked in the mirror and smiled at what she saw. Yes, this is exactly what I needed, she uttered with pleasure. The coral and white summer dress fit perfectly around her waist and looked romantic with a flared skirt. It was great in this hot weather. Going down the wooden stairs of the cottage, Veronica heard how the two brothers were discussing something in the kitchen. Lucenzo was cooking supper and arguing with Milano, although it didn't distract him from what he was doing. Milano was sitting on a chair with his legs crossed in front of Lucenzo, reading the daily newspaper. Milano was so serious and calm, which amused Veronica in an emotional way. She knew Milano wore a mask only for other people. For her, he was a passionate man who didn't feel shy to try anything. He was almost an ideal boyfriend, and this almost depended only on his arrogance. When Veronica quietly came to Milano from behind, she was still watching the Vinziani brothers. They were so alike and at the same time looked as if they weren't siblings. Vince, Vinciani? Vinciani? Olivia, is that my saying? Vinciani? Vinciani. Okay. I'm doing good to know English, okay? Nina and I didn't have this conversation. I don't know other languages very well, and English barely. Vinciani. Okay. Vince Vinciani. Not like you're helping out any, Orty. Ye who be married to half Italian. The brothers, of course, didn't notice how Veronica came tiptoeing into their kitchen. They were completely absorbed in their conversation. Veronica just kissed her demon on his cheek and rested her chin on his shoulder. She gently put her arm around his neck and sighed. Nike! Is that right? Nike! Milana laughed, feeling her gentle embrace. You have snuck into our kitchen as a burglar. Burglars don't kiss, Veronica sniffed, being curious about what Lucenzo was doing by the stove. She came to him slowly, watching his mastery in cooking. The young man was preparing dinner, following his own Italian recipes. He didn't pay attention to extraneous things. He tossed mixed vegetables up in the air, showing his culinary knack. You are right, dear. You are right, dear Veronica, Lucenzo said, nodding slightly. Let me help you, Lucenzo, Veronica offered him in a tender voice. She laid her hand on his shoulder with determination to get down to work. Please sit down and take a rest. Cooking is exhausting, and in any case, it is a woman's business, she finished with a smirk, standing by the stove and taking up the reins. Thank you, Veronica. Lucenzo kissed her on the cheek in response to her care and gave her a frying pan. Milano kept watching Veronica and his younger brother, burning with discontent. He did not like how sweetly Veronica behaved toward Lucenzo and how good they understood each other without words. Milano was beginning to be jealous of his goddess's affection toward his brother. He tried not to say rude words to them. Turning his gaze unwittingly to Milano, Lucenzo caught jealousy in his eyes. He still kept using a new psychotherapy skill on his eldest brother, showing his attitude toward Veronica. What are you grinning at, Lucenzo? Milano muttered, looking up at his brother frowningly. Good that you're my brother. If you were a stranger, I would have broken your rib. Me no, please. I just kissed my Me no, please. I just kissed my future sister-in-law. Don't be so strict. Lucenzo gave him a wink while coming closer to the table at which Milano was sitting. He easily tapped his brother on the shoulder, trying to calm him down. You and Veronica like influencing on my prudence. It gives you some pleasure. Milano started forgetting his promise to treat Veronica as a woman worthy of his respect. It appeared as if the inner demon was stronger than him. The demon was stronger in all senses of the word. He could easily possess Milano's mind, making him a different person. But for Lucenzo, this fact was just a reason to render assistance and support to Milano. He had to do it as his brother. Stop showing your character, Lucenzo said, disapproving of Milano's arrogance. You should rather shower compliments on your future wife. She's outstanding. He ended estimating the beauty of Veronica with such Italian words as, oh crap, le molto bella. Le molto bella. It's better for you to It's better for you to be silent before I get angry, Milano said sharply, feeling that inner demon was still awake. This demon tried to escape from the dark dungeon of Milano's mind and make an uprising, and Veronica and Lucenzo could witness this fact as the demon has already raised its rebellion. Don't talk to your brother like that. He doesn't deserve it. Veronica educated her wild man properly, supporting Lucenzo in his methods of influence in Milano. She suspected that any of their methods might end in a fiasco. You are lecturing me on education? Well, well. Milano got angry at Veronica's words, throwing the newspaper in a bucket. He liked showing all of them that he was the king, and so everyone should accept his decision. Veronica, do not protect me. Milano is always like this. I got used to it, Lucenzo pointed out sadly, looking at his eldest brother. He knew Milano's temper very well. But I intend to protect you. Milano must understand that I won't agree with his disrespect for you. After all, you're his brother. Veronica got mad at Milano, stirring food heated up on the stove. She didn't dare to even try to face her demon. She was very angry with him because of his attitude toward Lucenzo. Suddenly, Milano briskly bounced out of the chair, and Lucenzo immediately realized that trouble was certain. His brother got hot under the collar and intended not to stop. It seemed that fists would come into play. Brother! Taking the first blow, Lucenzo tried to stop Milano. He rested the hands on his chest, protecting Veronica from his attacks. Take a deep breath. You're a grown man, not an 18-year-old boy. Veronica stands up to me. I have to tell her something. Milano's tried not to raise his voice at his Amazon. That was disputing with him again. But his emotional demon took possession of his mind and appeared before them in all its glory. I am busy, Veronica tightly answered Milano, breaking quail eggs and set to cook an omelet for them. By doing this, she was purposely distracted from never-ending quarrels with Milano, as she was already tired of their arguments. Holy shit, come here, Milano grumbled. He looked at Veronica over his brother's shoulder, not putting up with her disobedience. Stop, Milano! Lucenzo became furious while reacting to his eldest brother's words. Don't yell at Veronica. She doesn't deserve it either. Milano took a step toward Lucenzo, becoming enraged with the lava of hellish anger. That lava could explode at any moment, destroying everybody who was close. And this destruction was an erupting volcano named Milano Vincenti. Milano couldn't stand it when his word as the head of the house was being disputed and discussed. He liked it when everybody complied with his rules and had no objections. He liked his own monarchy. Sounds like my daddy as I was growing up. Of course, Lucenzo didn't like it, and as a family member, he wanted to achieve certain equality of rights. Therefore, he stood in front of Milano as a shield for Veronica. He was as true a soldier who didn't even think to give up. Realizing that his brother didn't allow him to get closer to Veronica than a meter, Milano chuckled, thinking of resolving the conflict with his craftiness. Lou, let me have a word with my girlfriend. I won't bite her. Milano asked his brother politely, willing to establish contact with both parties and perhaps make up with them. Are you going to raise a hand to Veronica? Tell me. Lucenzo was afraid for Milano's girl. Sometimes the emotional intensity of his eldest brother fell outside the limits. Lucenzo could only guess what would happen next. Bloody hell, what's come over you? I've never beaten a woman. Milano didn't understand why nobody believed him. From childhood, his mother had taught him not to hurt girls from the neighborhoods. When he tried to make them suffer physically, Signora Vicini dragged her son by the ears so that he remembered this lesson for a long time, and Milano still kept it in his mind. He wanted to hit me only once, in Pisa. Veronica said bitterly to Lucenzo. She remembered the events of the previous week so clearly, how she met Milano and how he had got her to the room violently located adjacent to the Tower of Pisa. How fiercely they had been arguing with each other there, and how Milano had stopped himself. He hit the door a few inches from Veronica's head and had not even apologized to her after that incident. Though he was mortally jealous, he must draw the line somehow. Is it true, brother? Listening to Veronica's story, Lucenzo hardly understood the facts. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. Couldn't Milano keep his temper in line? Lucenzo said under his breath. Veronica asked for it. Oh, Veronica asked for it. She said a lot of unpleasant things about me, Milano uttered, recalling his version of that meeting. He was furious. His eyes were burning through the back of her head. It doesn't matter what Veronica said about you. What matters is that you wanted to hurt her. How could you? Lucenzo questioned his brother with disapproval. He didn't support Milano's rude behavior toward the woman. The woman would soon become the mother of his child, the future wife of Milano Finicini. I'm scribbling these names all up. I apologize, y'all. But I didn't touch her, goddammit. Let me talk to Veronica. Milano was already furious, showing his hasty temper and trying to do everything his own way. Only if you slow down, I'll let you come to her. Lucenzo told him fearlessly, continuing to protect Veronica and not allowing his brother to come closer to her. Being sure that no one could fight against Milano's stubbornness, Veronica surrendered. She realized that there was nothing she could do but to submit. Maybe that's how she will influence her demon's temper. Milano, let's talk. Otherwise, you will bomb the whole kitchen. Veronica requested him leisurely, serving the plates with an omelet and cheese to each brother. She came in timidly from Lucenzo's back and moved closer to her furious man. She was thinking of what awaits her now, a quarrel, plate smashing, or even destroying furniture. I will bomb it out. To hell with that. Milano shouted at Veronica, feeling that nobody took him seriously and everybody treated him as an immature boy. He was a grown and solid man for certain, but it mattered how you look at him. Emotionally, Milano had behaved like an immature teenager. Lucenzo began to think of how to reconcile his brother with his girlfriend. But Milano didn't allow him to do anything. He abruptly grabbed Veronica's wrist and led her out of the kitchen as if she was a child who was guilty of bad behavior and now was going to be punished severely. Veronica obediently followed Milano, not disputing with him at all. Milano, if you hurt Veronica, I will beat you. Keep this in mind, Lucenzo said on the heels of his brother, knowing that this phrase could make Milano furious. But he didn't care. Lucenzo didn't want to see his eldest brother hurt this sincere and sweet girl. Not hearing his brother's words, Milano pushed Veronica into a special guest room and closed the door after her. He made her a prisoner in his chambers and didn't plan to let her go. Veronica looked around, noticing what a beautiful room they were in. It appeared like the private quarters of a wealthy castle. It was luxury in decoration and design. The gold chandelier was hanging from the ceiling, sparkling in the bright lamp's light. The incredible bouquet molding around the chandelier indicated how much this style fitted there. In the middle of the room, there was a small table made of green transparent glass, about 50 inches long. A warm carpet weaved from the same white sheep's wool as the carpet in Milano's room lay on the floor. There were 2 large double beds covered with crisp vanilla bedspreads against the wall. Everybody who visited the Vincini when he strongly grabbed her elbow, forcing her to look into his eyes. So you were bold to say such words in front of my brother? No woman ever disobeyed me and protected Lucenzo. I'm not afraid of your uncouth words. If you think I'm scared of you, you will be disappointed, Mino, Veronica said, holding up her hand and showing no intention of giving up. Do you want war? Do you want a war? I can give it to you, Amazon. Milano promised her with his sinister eyes, which could set her soul on fire and burn her painfully. I wanted hope that Milano would not hurt her in any way, but she was not quite sure if Milano could conduct himself rationally. His world still shocked her. Before coming to her senses, Veronica was already in Milano's hands, and he passionately kissed her as if he missed her for years. What was happening to him? Did he just want Veronica's body, or had he fallen in love with her even more? Feeling his hot hands on her skin, Veronica began to choke with desire. Her heart was beating at high speeds. When Milano stood, wrapping her in a cocoon of his heat, the curves of her body united so perfectly with his sculpted muscles, as if they were made for each other. Most likely, it was so. Veronica nervously clutched at Milano's biceps with her fragile fingers, holding him back until he showered her with his demented passion. He didn't want Veronica to be released. He kissed her fervently so that she would lose her mind forever. After all, love was not in the power of her mind, but in the power of her heart. Milano, Veronica was mumbling through his long kisses, not knowing what to do. Leave me alone. No way, my Amazon. Your grittiness makes me hot, Milano answered hoarsely, using his arms tricks to keep his girl beside him. Demon, you know. Yes, he interrupted Veronica, not listening to her speech. I also crave for you, Angel. Milano put his hands under Veronica's dress while his Amazon's fingers were sinking into his hair. He lifted her dress higher to enjoy the view of her shapely bare legs. The only thing that Milano desired was to get Veronica's approval and plunge into the depth of her passion. But Lucenzo thought it was a bad sign that it was so quiet and peaceful in the guest room. He worried about Veronica. Could my eldest brother become such a despot as to hit his future wife? Could he do any harm to her? Milano, open the door, Lucenzo ordered his brother threateningly, coming closer to the room where Milano and Veronica were. If you hurt her, Nike, you won't get away with it. And then the door opened at once, and Lucenzo froze in disbelief. Milano and Veronica appeared before him, looking disheveled, like guilty teenagers whose parents caught them at the scene of the crime. Veronica's lips were swollen from Milano's kisses, and his hair looked as if he had been dragged through a hedge backward. The clothes of the couple were slightly crushed, as if they weren't ironed for a long time. Lucenzo began to laugh, looking at the guilty ones. I see that Nike doesn't need any help, does she? Lucenzo snorted, realizing that he shouldn't have come. He would rather have stayed in the kitchen eating up his yummy omelet. He got really hungry when he was helping Francesca to paint her house windows. Lou, it's Milano, this imp. Veronica rejected Lucenzo's guesses, adjusting her hair that escaped from the metal clasp. Of course, Lucenzo grinned, looking at Milano, who seemed surprisingly much calmer. We have cleared up all misunderstandings and arrived at the common view. We shouldn't argue in front of you. Milano looked sideways at Veronica so that she would not contradict him, but be silent like an obedient girl. Veronica could say nothing. She was laying on a white cloud of love that enveloped her body. This Italian again. He threw my thoughts away. Veronica complained to herself about Milano. Even so, excellent. Lucenzo went on, laughing and watching the criminals who tried to hide their traces. True, Milano muttered, endeavoring to gather all his thoughts. After a hot discussion with Veronica, he could understand nothing except for true. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, you were kissing before my coming? Do you think I am such an idiot? You are just actors. Lucenzo continued to titter, going slowly into the kitchen to finish his meal. I'd rather eat up my dinner, as I won't get anywhere with you. I'll also go and finish my dinner, Veronica voiced her thoughts aloud, tugging her dress that was slightly seedy after hugs with her beloved demon. She followed Lucenzo, but then Milano seized her by the arm again. You will eat later. I just want you now. You must pander to my desires, Milano told her stiffly, making up a new plan on how to attack Veronica. In particular, he desired to win. He was waiting for a complete surrender from his Amazon. He couldn't control his body that was burning with a flame of desire. Such an insolent man. I have no words about that, Veronica annoyingly muttered to him. She was determined to go into the kitchen, but Milano blocked her way purposely. What a babyish thing to do. Couldn't he forget about sex at least for an hour? Veronica didn't understand him, thinking about the depraved fantasies of her demon. Was it impossible to make this Italian a moral person, or perhaps it was not yet time? It will be fast, mia bella, be your natural self. Milano shared his plan, feeling that he would possess his Amazon's body like a madman. He pushed Veronica to the wall, starting to make seductive moves, imitating the sexual act. Somehow he attempted to turn her on once again. He was confident that after this encounter, Veronica would passionately attack him herself. But apparently this time she was stronger. So, start a sexual abstinence treatment and you'll feel better, Milano. Veronica impatiently said to him, wanting to end the conversation as quickly as possible. That was enough sex for her today. Her body was very tired. His eyebrows started to shake when Milano heard her answer. Do you refuse me, huh? Yes, Veronica replied fearlessly, doubting if she had said the right things. Everything might have changed in a flash of a moment, and even thinking about their child, as Veronica assumed to herself. Milano really overreacted to her. He simply replied to Veronica through clenched teeth. I'll be back soon. and went out. He slammed the front door with such force that the painting hanging in the hallway began to shake. And he's gone. Shit, Veronica mumbled, knowing the answer to her imaginable question. She was afraid that her guesses would come true. This irrepressible demon has surely zoomed off to his mistress. Damn him and all his vices. However much Veronica forced herself to hate However much Veronica forced herself to hate Milano and be disgusted at his behavior, she couldn't hate him. The branches of love entwined her heart very deeply, holding him tight. They hurt Veronica more than ever, inflicting the deepest wounds in her soul. Boy, you guys are talking a lot. Oh, for Pete's sakes. Ori, you cray. You just cray. Olivia, you must be Ori's twin. Gracious. Unable to hold the psychological tension, Veronica sat on the floor of the hallway and began crying. Her inner world was about to crack, and all her attempts to influence on Milano's worldview led to nothing. She knew she couldn't calmly watch her man go to other women. Veronica had to choose either to leave him or to accept Milano the way he is. Her pride of an intelligent and strong woman spoke in her. Veronica would never have thrown herself at Milano's feet, even if she thought about it before. She would rather be hungry and roam around Rome than lick the feet of her well-beloved Milano. The mainstream of her thoughts immediately changed as Veronica decided what would be the correct choice. Whew! I'm gonna sneeze. Oh, excuse me. The mainstream of her thoughts immediately changed as Veronica decided what would be the correct choice. Will I accept Milano if he returns and flings himself in my arms? She thought. No, I will smell another woman on him and will hate him for that. And I won't lower myself to him the way he wants. I will live far from Milano until my child is born. He will be able to see the baby, but only when I will allow him. I won't demean myself before the bloody Casanova anymore. Hearing the shutting of the front door, Lucenzo immediately realized that something had happened. He didn't waste his time and got up from the table, finishing his supper. A moment later, Lucenzo was in the hall. He shook his head in response to what he had seen. Veronica was sitting on the floor, her eyes rained tears. It was again because of Milano. How can I rein him in? Lucenzo was silently grumpy, knowing that his eldest brother was the cause of this nice girl's tears. Veronica, Lucenzo says, sitting down beside her and moving closer to her. Where has our unlucky fellow gone? Have you quarreled with him anew? I cannot do this anymore. I just can't. Milano takes my heart and with the rods of cruel indifference makes a stake of it. I have had enough. I'm leaving. Veronica poured her heart out to Lucenzo, having the hiccups from her tears every few sentences. She also wondered how quickly she can get out of this house. Where will you go, Veronica? To relatives or friends? Do you have them here? Lucenzo was talking her down, moving her closer to his shoulder to make Veronica change her mind. I'll go to Aunt Carmela, the second cousin of my aunt, Henrietta. Veronica shared her plans with Lucenzo while he was attentively listening to her. I know she will shelter me. I have already talked about it with her. I'm just afraid of one thing. Milano can find me and bring me back, as it was the case the last time. He found out where Signora Vetrova lives, thanking to my note of her address, so it will be no trouble for him to come to her place again. Therefore, I won't stay with her. I'll just borrow some money from her and find a hotel. I will live there until I find a job that will enable me to raise some money and go back to Russia. Are you sure of what you were saying? Lucenzo's heart turned into ice. Veronica's naivety struck him that he realized he must try at all costs to convince her to remain here. So he continued their dialogue. Honey, this is not your country. Here, everything is different. To get a job, you need to become a citizen and receive the recommendations from your previous places of work. I know all this, Lucinda, but let me go. I will get on my knees if you want, but don't force me to live with him. Don't force me. Veronica was beginning to cry, not understanding anything in this complicated life. Her emotional feelings played a low down trick on her. In a moment, she became too weak to fight even Lucenzo. Milano is a demon, but he loves you. You have to believe him. Lucenzo understood that he had no right to use such words for blackmailing Veronica, but he couldn't change her decision any other way. He had to act exactly like this. He loves nobody, Lucenzo, but only himself. Veronica didn't want to listen to Milano's brother. It seemed to her that Lucenzo supported Milano because he was his blood brother. To her, Lucenzo would side with Milano and would show some indulgence to him. With this, Veronica that was that said what was on her mind. I bet, Lucenzo, Milano has gone to another woman or prostitute. I refused him, and now he's decided to have revenge against me. Having heard Veronica's words, Lucenzo understood that she was right. Hell right. Milano was still a womanizer. If it is so, then I need to wash Milano's brain. Definitely, Lucenzo pshawed. No, Lucenzo, I will surely pack my things and leave. I am fed up with it. Will you help me? I'm afraid to lift heavy things. My baby. Sobbing, Veronica rose to her feet, wanting nothing more for herself. She sighed heavily, considering the reality of things. Milano will never grow up, and she will always have to be dependent on other people. Dear Nike, you don't have to decide about it in a hurry. Besides, you are expecting a baby and should have a lot of rest. I don't want anything to happen to your child. Lucenzo faulted her for her free thinking, but couldn't instruct her harshly. He could only support her. Just help me, Lou. There is nothing else I need from you. If you don't want to, I will carry it by myself. I have got used to it. Speaking with Milano's brother, Veronica was losing her heart, but she still behaved like a proud Amazon, and that really surprised Lucenzo. He had never seen that much vitality in a woman, the one his eldest brother fell in love with and didn't appreciate truthfully. Lucenzo had no doubts that Milano loved Veronica. Milano just needed some time to realize it. Wow, I might find a stopping point, y'all. Lucenzo had no doubt that Milano loved Veronica. Milano just needed some time to realize it, or perhaps Milano didn't want to accept that fact. It was two completely different things. Lucenzo thought that he should bring together Veronica and Milano again. It didn't matter to him how much time and nerves it would take, he would become their connecting link just as their unborn child. And Lucenzo began to play for time. Don't be ridiculous, Veronica. I don't want to lose my nephew or niece, okay? Then I'll call a taxi. Veronica agreed to shake Lucenzo's hand and to leave him with a sad smile. After a little while, she stood in Milano's room where she had spent one of the most beautiful and at the same time unhappy days of her life. She thought how best to behave. Whew, we're gonna stop there, ladies. Because it's a long ways to a stopping point. So we're going to use that as the stopping point. Whoop, whoop, Olga. Oh, yes, ma'am, Miss Olivia. I am. I'm stopping. I'm stopping. if I read the whole book, then they wouldn't want to go buy it. See, they need to go buy the book. That's why I stop. I know you don't mind, Olga, but I have to get up and work in the morning. Besides, if Ori had it her way, she would let me read all night long to her. Her and Vincy would just sit around and let me read all night long to them. They don't care. So, yeah, you can't listen to them. We want people to buy the book. This is just a teaser. All it is just a teaser. I don't read the whole book. Okay, so, well, thank you, Miss Olga. I appreciate you letting me read it. Miss Olivia, do you have the prices and all that, or do you have prices, or whoever's all that fun stuff? Because they gotta go get the book. And some people will be listening to this tomorrow book when they get mad at me and decide that I didn't finish it. So I know you guys can find over Milano later. Yes. Go get your little vibes and dildos and whatever else you need to keep yourself happy. On Amazon, Olivia? Okay, on Amazon. Alrighty. Well, you guys heard it here. Go get it. Go read it. It's kind of hard to put all that stuff on here. It don't let you on here very often, so don't think bad of it, Olivia. That's one of the bad things about YouTube is it doesn't let you do that kind of stuff. So I don't know why. All righty. It's also on KU, everybody. So if you haven't I was trying to get the okay. There's the cover for you. So Alpha Milano? Too passionate for me. I'd end up taking a iron skillet to that head and that mouth. Yeah, I can't handle that. Oh my gosh. I'm going to show you guys my nephew and my brother. So watch this. He's 3. He's 3. Yes, I know. He's full rotten. All righty, everybody. Have a good weekend. Those here in the U.S., happy Labor Day. Monday's Labor Day. Try to rest. Try to get a book read this weekend, y'all. It's for those in the US, it's gonna be a long weekend. Try to read something. Oh, he's rotten. He's 3 years old and he is rotten to the core. He is his daddy made over. All right, everybody. Have a good night, my ladies in Russia. Go to sleep. I know it's way past your bedtime. I'm glad you guys are the ones staying up and not me. And go grab Olga's books. There's a part 1 to this. You need to go get part 1 and read it too, and then read this. It's a series, so it's good, y'all. Go get it. All right. Happy reading and have a good evening. Bye now.